Hello and welcome to How to Learn a Language. Yeah, the name kind of says it all. I'm Lindsay from Lindsay Does Languages, and I'm here to help you learn languages better, any language, any level. On this podcast, you'll get jargon-free linguistics insights to level up your fluency, practical mindset tips to tackle those inevitable learning wobbles, personal language diaries where I share my own progress and honest experiences, and an exclusive peek behind the scenes of language life. My coaching program that helps people speak fearlessly and intuitively by taking control of your learning without pressure or one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter methods. If you're ready to break free from perfectionism and finally start speaking the language you want, you're in the right place. Want to get started right away? Head to lindsaydoeslanguages.com/free video for your on-demand video training. All right, let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to How to Learn a Language. Today, we're talking about the most common language learning obstacles that my clients face and how we beat them. So why are we talking about this? Because even though I work with language learners learning any language at any level, there are a lot of similarities that come up again and again, especially when it comes to the stuff that blocks us and gets in the way. So the first one is picking resources. It is too easy, far too easy to get stuck in that cycle of finding the perfect resource, of feeling like there's something better out there that you haven't yet found, that you could be using a better textbook, that you could be, using a better app. Like, are you subscribed to the wrong one? What do you need to do? And when all of that happens, it's good to pick your resources, but it ain't so good to get stuck in that cycle of constantly trying to find the perfect resource, because when that happens, you're not learning. So the sooner that you can stop picking resources and get started, the better. Now, the way that we fix this is I teach you how to use any resource to learn language, because I have done this myself, especially when I was learning Guarani, which is an indigenous language spoken in Paraguay and South America, Brazil, Argentina. And it's not like learning Japanese or French or English. There's not like a whole host of resources that I can just go and pick up from my local bookshop, or a whole load of apps that teach Guarani. So I had a very limited amount of stuff that I could use. So I really had to make the most of those resources. And when you know how you best learn, and I'm not just talking are you a visual learner fluff? When you know really how you best learn, you can truly use any resource that you have access to and mold it to fit you so that you can still learn regardless of how good that resource is. We also change your attitude towards trying it out, because trying stuff out and experimenting and testing a resource is often seen as failing if you don't have a perfect plan yet, right? If you're just sort of seeing if something is good, and then you're doing that for 2 weeks, and then you think, I still don't know how to use this. This is rubbish, right? And put it in the bin. I've failed. I've wasted 2 weeks. No, we change your attitude towards that, because as a language learner, you are the biggest experimenter, all of the time. And that's a really cool thing to be. So you need to be prepared for that. You need to be prepared that you'll always be testing and monitoring something, and that you need to be a neutral observer to that, right? That you have to lose that self-judgment. You have to think, okay, interesting. I wonder why that happened. I wonder, why I don't look forward to using this resource, without thinking, I don't look forward to using this resource. I've picked the bad one. I'm so bad at picking resources. No, that's less helpful. And this is also why we have monthly reviews in Language Life, so that you can reflect and adjust rather than just ploughing on without checking if things are working. One of my favorite final feedback responses that really took me by surprise from a Language Life alumni kind of graduating was Jackie, who said that she had created her own course using the resources that she had already. Now, I knew from our work together over the year in Language Life that Jackie had that she had a lot of resources. She, over the years, had kind of gathered a whole bookshelf of stuff, and she was feeling a bit overwhelmed with what to do. It felt like there was too much choice, so she ended up doing nothing. So she cleared some stuff out, she picked what was best for her, and then combined them into an ideal course to follow that made sense. And that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. This didn't have to hold her back anymore from doing nothing. It didn't have to take ages and ages to actually pick and to clear the stuff out. It was more about realizing, what do I already have? Let's filter that down and let's really use what I need to and what I want to from that. The second most common language learning obstacle that my clients face is speaking. You probably want to use the language that you're learning for speaking. Same for most of my clients. There are some who are learning purely for reading or understanding, but for most of us, we do want to speak at some point. And at some point is often as vague as it stays. So you always postpone practice because that's a future you problem, right? And when you postpone practicing speaking, you postpone actually speaking and you postpone feeling confident with your languages. The way that we get around this, the way that we fix this is we have the Speak 28 by 28 challenge. You will speak more confidently within 28 days of joining Language Life. We do this with the challenge. So here's how it works. Every single day of the challenge, your first 28 days of us working together, you get a brand new video lesson from me on a speaking related topic. Now, some you'll have thought about before, right? And others, perhaps not. This is like the full sort of holistic spectrum of speaking. And you'll get a prompt to help you hit record and get some speaking practice in every single day. So you'll speak 28 times more than if you hadn't joined. And you can get this challenge on its own, but obviously I recommend, join Language Life and get it, because then you'll have that bonus of access to me to check in as and when you need during and long beyond that first month as well. Now, this matters because it's practice where you build your speaking confidence. You don't get better at speaking confidently by waiting for that practice, saying that, yes, you will speak at some point. So we have to make that commitment to practice now. But for most of us, speaking opportunities are kind of overwhelming because it involves someone else, whether that is, having someone else wait for us to show up to an online lesson, whether that is having other people at a meetup that you need to go to and speak to. Like it can be a lot to begin with. And sure, we can do those things, absolutely. But we just want a bit of a primer, a bit of a runway before we get there. Because if we wait, then the first real life speaking opportunities that we get, where we're actually with a real person who doesn't know us, who we're not practicing with, who, we have like a goal for this conversation. It's like, you're traveling there or whatever. Then those first real life speaking opportunities are wasted because we're fumbling, we don't understand, we forget words. And these are all things that we can work on if we do solo practice first. So this challenge, the Speak 28 by 28 challenge, is there to help you get comfortable with that and to build a habit of, regular solo speaking practice, a solo speaking habit that lasts. And it does last beyond the challenge too. Alex reported a 40-day streak of solo speaking after taking the challenge as well. And you've got promptly access within Language Life to make it easy to always have something to say when the challenge is over too. Plus you get the how to use any prompt at any level training, just to make sure that you can always do this at any level. And the final obstacle is plateaus. Yes. Now, plateaus don't just appear at one exact point when you're intermediate, right? It could be that your routine has become kind of stale, so it's not fun anymore. Perhaps you are a beginner, but you're totally stuck for what to do that will actually work. Maybe you're trying to pick resources, and so you've kind of plateaued there. Or maybe you started a new job and now you can't fit languages in anymore. And it's that variation in what plateaus can look like that means it is such a common obstacle that I see again and again and again over the years. So how do we fix this? This is where the 3 F's of language learning come in, right? Because successful language learning should always be those 3 things: fun, flexible, and functional. So we start here. Every month, in your monthly review to me inside Language Life, I'll ask you, is it fun? Is it functional? Is it flexible? I'll then give you feedback based on your answers to help you make the right adjustments to get beyond whatever plateau you're at right now. And I'll give you the tools as well to conduct a language learning audit for yourself and to determine what's not fun, functional, or flexible so that you can do this and make those adjustments and those decisions as and when you need it and long beyond our time together. And honestly, sometimes just the questions in the monthly review are enough. And I'll see people figure it out in real time in their notes right after the questions on the form. It's so good when I get to see the cogs turning like in real time as people have been filling it out, right? I'm like, there we go, there's your answer. We found it. It's really, really cool. So these are some of the big obstacles. And maybe if you can relate to one of these, then, I have a little something for you to get started today. So one of the big things that really makes this quick and easy is learning how to learn languages. Because when you understand these obstacles and you know how to beat them and how to get around them, then it doesn't matter, about what app you're using, when you are studying, all of that stuff. If you want a little primer, a little bit more today, and you're thinking, yeah, okay, I relate to one of these. This is definitely me. I'm struggling to pick resources. I've plateaued, right? I struggle with speaking, whatever it is. Then I have something that will help. This is a free video training. You get on-demand access for 7 days when you sign up. lindsaydoeslanguages.com/free video. It's called How to Finally Learn That Language. And we'll dig in a bit more to some of my core principles about language learning, about learning how to learn languages. And this stuff works any language, any level. So you're covered whatever it is that you're learning right now, because this is the overarching stuff that doesn't always get talked about, but we're going to talk about it. So there you go, lindsaydoeslanguages.com/free video to get that. And I'll speak to you next time. Thank you so much for listening to How to Learn a Language. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you're ready to take your language learning to the next level and speak with confidence without the pressure or perfectionism, then check out Language Life. You can find out all the details and join at lindsaydoeslanguages.com/LL. And if you want the first free step today, head to lindsaydoeslanguages.com/free video to get started with a fresh way to learn languages. Until next time, stay fearless, stay curious, so you can learn languages your way.